Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class where we are going to be multiplying the cards in the Welcoming Garden kit. So when you get these kits, they come with supplies. You can make the cards as created, as planned, or you can do alternate projects with them, which is what I love to do. I like to change things up, which is what I did with my hair. What do you think, you guys? I got this new wig. It's Dolce and Dolce 18, it's called. It's from BelleTress, and it's in the color rose gold. And I thought I would wear it today. It's one of my new alternate hair pieces. It's a wig, and having fun, having fun. I have a few new ones coming in because I am still losing hair. My type of alopecia, unless I'm on a medication, it does not maintain or grow back, I should say. So anyways, we're just going to start diving into wigs, you guys. I love it. Pink hand waving. Thanks, you guys. So I thought I would wear it today. Anyways, we're having fun. Welcome to all of you. I'm so glad that you could join live, especially those people who chimed in saying, this is my first live. It's so exciting to see those kinds of comments. I'm glad that you were able to make it. I hope that you sit back, enjoy, have fun. Log into your Google or your YouTube account so that you can join in on the chat. And if you're just watching right now, we would love to have you join us. We had lots more after live comments from the last live that we did, and so I've got a couple of prize winners for that. So yay for more comments. It's always fun to have more interaction, more community, that sort of thing. And feel free to comment on each other's comments too. That's always fun too. Get to know each other. Thanks, Vicki. So here's just a little backstory. I've always had thinner hair, right? Not a lot of it on the thin side. I loved the color. When I was younger, it was just like this golden blonde. So I appreciated parts of my hair, but it was a struggle. Like I couldn't go to the hair salon and just say, make me whatever color you want or do this kind of haircut. I mean, I was always like in awe of the people that could do that. Slightly jealous, but in a good way. And so now I'm at that stage of life where I get to put on whatever hair I want. And you can do that at any age, really. Had I known about wigs when I was younger, and all the fun that there was, like, it's just crazy. Anyways, okay, so we're gonna have pink hair today. I am so disorganized compared to normal. We've had the last couple days, there has been a lot of changes going on with Stampin' Up. Not with Stampin' Up, but just, we're transitioning into a new catalog soon. It's the first of the month, so then there's all these announcements. It's just a crazy, exciting time. But at the same time, I've been very, very busy. So I don't have my blog post ready. The link will go in the YouTube description soon, probably by this evening, well, maybe by this afternoon, but I won't have the blog post go live until tomorrow morning. If I happen to get some time this afternoon to do it, maybe it'll go live sooner. But normally I have a blog post that goes live with my video so that you can then refer to that post, see photos of the projects, see measurements, click on a PDF, which I haven't even created yet. You can see a visual list of supplies and shop from them. But right now, you can, during the live, you can actually just get that information within the description of the video. So there are links to the products. There's other links to information if you're looking for other things. So again, it's Dolce. It's in the description of the video. So if you guys are interested, I don't get any commission. I'm just starting to wear wigs now. So I'm just sharing the name in case you guys want to try out what I wear. So it's in the YouTube description already. If you're interested, I saw some comments about that. All right. What else do I want to say? Welcome to Trisha Josephs. She's back with us. Yay. She's my moderator. She's here to answer questions. And I forgot to tell you the date. It is April 2nd, 2025. Again, we're going to be multiplying the cards from the Welcoming Garden kit. All right, so one thing that I need to do though, because my hair is parted in the middle and I can't necessarily, this is the way the wig came. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put this on, and when I tip down, I can actually have my hair not go into my project as I'm working. So we're gonna look at this kit. Let's go to the desktop. Okay, in this kit you get some goodies. So let me bring those out so you can see them. You get 3 times as many of these items. Don't tell my kids that. Yeah, I saw the comment come through about boys. Anyways, yeah, don't tell my kids that you just said that. So we have envelopes, really pretty decorative envelopes, but thank you. That was sweet of you to say that. They're really having a hard time with the pink hair. Well, not really having a hard time with it, but they're not sure if they want mom wearing pink hair. We'll just say that. I've got card bases in here, and this one is a unique one. The other two styles are just this design, but then you put layers over the top of it. So these are the way the pieces come in this kit. Okay, and again, you get 3 times as many of these products that I'm showing to you now. I'm just showing you a third of the kit because that's what we're going to work with today. This here is a sheet that has all of these punch out. Well, they're not, I mean, you don't even have to punch them. You just kind of pull and they come away from the background. And so we're going to be using all of these. So there's a sheet of these for each set of cards. There's also a white layer, white on both sides. There's these gate layers because all of these cards are for doing like gate looking cards, gates with flowers. There are some labels. Let me show you the other labels here. We have this label and this label, and then we have, there are pieces. So if you wanted to do like a little oval, you could use these. Now, if you're sending cards to people who only speak English, then you'd want to use the hello one. But we're going to flip these over because we get 3 of everything, 3 times all of this. So we're going to use those within the cards. There's more gate pieces. Here's another gate. They come out of these sheets super easily, I should say. So yeah, we're going to be using all of this. Be careful with this one. This one's probably the most delicate. You just want to go around it with your hand behind it, and you get this piece. Pretty, right? And then look at all of these little extra flowers. There's extra, I'm not gonna pull those out because you know what's gonna happen during the live. I'm gonna lose them. So we're just gonna leave them in that sheet off to the side. Also in the kit, besides the pamphlet with the images of what the cards should look like and the directions, you also get, of course, the supplies times 3. You get this sheet, which comes with your stamps, and I've already mounted most of my stamps onto blocks, so I have those ready to go. You also get a clear block with every Kits Collection kit that involves stamps. You get a clear block. So if you are wanting to, you know, ramp up your clear block collection, this is a good way to do it. If you have a ton of blocks, you can always, you know, give them to friends, use them for, you know, little extra lifts in your house. Let's say you want to put a candle on something, you know, just trying to think of ways that you can use your blocks if you have extras as you get them. But I've used them, like I've put candles on them and set them on top of things so that my candles aren't directly on my furniture. You also get this tear and tape roll of adhesive in this particular kit. You get the mini dimensionals in this kit. And these 2 sheets are just for your stamps. You can store your stamps in there and protect them. And again, you could get them in different languages depending on which kit you get. Okay, also within this kit, you get an extra sheet. I'm sorry, not an extra sheet. You get an extra set of gates, extra labels, because you get 5 of each of these on this one sheet. Wait. Let me think back again. Yeah, you get 5, and you only need 3 because you're doing 3 cards of each, right? So 1, 2, 3. Oh, here it is. 1, 2, 3. So I've already punched out those 3. I have 2 extra for doing another alternate card with it or whatever. So you can create with those. Now these are extra stamps from that kit. I'm just going to open up this block and I'm going to show you quickly. Your block is a D-size block. It's the same size as this. It's just it's not as ergonomic, but it still works just fine. And so we're going to go ahead and mount our stamp onto our block for those of you beginning crafters. And then I've got another stamp here. When you have a long type of stamp, you want to let it relax on your table and then pick it up. And I like to pick up my stamps at an angle most of the time so that I'm not relying on the edges of my blocks for dictating what I'm doing. The last thing that comes in this kit is important. If you're going to have stamps, then you want to have some ink. And this is the Crumb Cake ink pad. It is a color that is like a really soft, light brown. So I've got my larger ink pad with us for when it's time to use Crumb Cake, just because it's going to make it easier. Now, what did I bring in that's extra? Thanks, Mimo. What did I bring in that's extra for the creating of the cards today? Well, we're going to chop up the envelopes and make cards out of them. So you're going to need extra envelopes. Investing in the medium-sized basic white envelopes are what you should really do if you're going to be an alternate kit creator. I think that those envelopes that come in the kits should be used as designer paper. They're just so pretty. We're also going to be using basic black and basic white cardstock. I try to go with another color, but seriously, if you just have these two basic colors in your stash, you can do so many alternates with them. They're great for really showing off the true imagery in kits, right? If you were to take and put, say, let's just grab this and put this against green, it wouldn't pop as much as if it was against black or white. Really, black and white make things pop so well. So we're going to cut those. And so we're going to need tools too. We're going to need a trimmer. We're going to need tools like scissors, bone folder, take your pick tool. Those kinds of basic tools are great to have. Plus, I like to bring in some extra adhesives. So I'm using my seal adhesive, which it looks like I'm going to have to refill. I'm bringing in my multi-purpose liquid glue. I like to use my glue in my precision tip bottle, so I'll be using that. And and then extra dimensionals. So I have some extra dimensionals set aside. These are just bigger ones to help cover more surface. All right. And then I've got an extra ink color. So why am I bringing in extra ink color? Because I want my sentiments to stand out, okay? Yeah, playing around with the hair today, you guys. I wanted my sentiments to stand out, so I'm going to be using some extra sentiments too, because we're going to be expanding the cards that come in this kit. So we're going to be taking the supplies from those three sets of three cards, right? And the three envelopes. We're going to be cutting them up, and we're going to be making 11 cards from them. So 3 into 11. We're almost quadrupling the cards in the kit. If you do that with your whole kit, you're going to get 33 cards instead of just 9. So you don't have to own this stamp set, but I recommend grabbing a stamp set that's on your shelf with words that work with you, that call to you, and that fit into the little spaces. So as I'm creating with this kit and the cards, think about the stamp sets that you already own. I'll be using Thankful Garden along with Memento, but again, if you don't have a black ink, just using a dark ink, or you could use the Crumb Cake color that comes in your kit. The last thing that I'm going to bring in as an option, and you don't have to do it because I will be doing my first set of cards without these, but then I'll show you finished ones with them, are some embellishments. And the embellishments that I chose are the brushed brass butterflies. Okay? All right, I think we're good. Let's start creating. So I have for you some black cardstock. We're going to score both card bases at the same time before we cut. So in other words, this creates 2 card bases, this piece here. We're going to score at 4 1/4 inches. So I'm pushing my flat edge of my cardstock up to the top here, bringing this edge to the 4 1/4 inch mark. And then I'm going to use the light blade on my trimmer, and we're going to press. We're putting the score mark into there. Okay, and now we're going to turn it into this direction instead, and we're going to cut at 5 1/2. So I've got my straight edge up here at the top. I'm bringing it to the 5 1/2 inch mark. And we're going to use the dark blade now. The dark blade cuts. It's a lot of cards. I know. I agree with you, Peggy. All right, for the white cardstock, we're going to make some layers. You need, let me think here again. I think it was, I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, oh, I have it written down. 5 sheets of black for every set of 11. So that would be 15 sheets of black altogether if you're going to do your whole kit. And then you need 1¼ sheets of white, basic white. So altogether that would be 3¾ almost 4 sheets for the whole kit. Again, I'm doing 1/3 of the kit. I'm just taking the supplies for 3 cards and envelopes, cutting them up and making them into 11. You can multiply this by 3 and get the same results. So we're going to cut our 1¼ sheets of cardstock now. Thank you, Joan. So we're going to cut at 4 inches. We're going to cut again at 4 inches. So it's 4 by 11 right now. Gosh, you could use that as a sentiment strip. Let's say that you don't have a tiny, tiny sentiment to put in those little ovals that I'm going to show you later on. Use your scrap white. Okay, now we're going to turn in this direction. We'll just cut them both at the same time. And we'll cut at 5¼ inches. And 5¼ inches. It is a great kit. I totally agree with you guys. It is a must. I agree. So Shirley says black ink is a must. So if you don't have it, get it, especially if you're a beginner. That's one of the go-tos. So here's some more sentiment strips. Again, if you don't want to use the sentiment layers that I'll be using. For this piece, again, you only need 1/4 of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut that at, and now I want to make sure I tell you correctly. Because what if I tell it to you wrong? Hang on, I'm going to measure something. It might be the same measurement in this direction. Nope. We're going to go with 4 1/8. And now I don't remember where that one went. We're going to put it there. Okay. 4 1/8. So just slightly wider, but just as tall as regular cards. So 5½ inches here. Save these for your other projects, your other cards that you might be making. Okay, here we go. So this is our odd one. These are the ones that are the same. So this one's just a little taller and slightly wider, but not by much. 4 1/8 by 5½, 4 by 5¼ Okay, I'm setting these all over here. Now we're going to trim up envelopes. We're going to start with the envelopes. The envelopes are going to be the easiest. Thanks, Brenda. It's good to see your name pop up. So for the envelopes, we're going to be taking, and I'll just cut one because all the cards are the same. Well, no, I'm going to have to cut more. Well, we'll cut one for now. So for the envelope cards, the ones that have this beautiful image, we're going to put our folded edge here because the envelope is not cut yet. We're going to cut it open. We're going to put that folded edge on top of our trimmer so it's covering up this dark little area here. So your channel goes in the middle, and if we can just cover that up, we can, and you don't have to cover it up all the way, but cover it up enough where you're getting your blade to go right into that 1/16 of an inch. You cut off a 1/16 of an inch is what we're doing. We're going to set that in our trash pile. Flip it over. Do the same thing on the other side, cutting off a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, and then on this side, we're going to do the same thing. Actually, you know what we can do? We can open it up and cut like this, but just cut right above the score mark. I prefer to cut it this way because I think that, you know, then you get it cut both at the same time. It's up to you, but you can open it at that point. So we're going to trim off another 1/16 of an inch on the bottom. This becomes a card layer. This is almost a card layer. We're going to cut this now at, grabbing my ruler again because I want to tell you the right directions, right measurements. We're going to cut this one at 3 3/4 inches. Okay, so we're going to this spot here on the trimmer. And this allows us to have a really large layer. And if we want to, and I didn't use it on my cards, but you can trim off the rounded edges here on these 3 sides, and you have a skinny white layer that you can add somewhere else on your cards. So you can do that if you'd like to. I did not use them, but you can. Then we're going to cut in this direction, and I believe that's at 2 3/4, but let me make sure. Yep, 2 3/4 inches. And we'll do the same thing with this one, so it's the same size. So we're just trimming off a little bit extra. So you would do that with all 3 of your envelopes to get an outside and an inside piece. And where'd that other piece go? And here it is, an extra layer. For the extra layer, it depends. So for now, we're just going to trim off all of this rounded stuff. like that. So now we have this rectangular piece, and we can choose to cut it more narrow. We can choose to cut it or leave it this wide and trim off the edges once we add it to the inside of the card base. So for example, if it's going to be an inside layer here, you can see it's a little bit wider. So you can just glue that down in there, trim it off. You see what I mean? I'm going to just keep those set aside. We'll refer to them as we create. Let's go with creating one of these envelope cards. So for that, and I'm calling them envelope cards because it's really just using the envelope pieces for the card. Thanks, Kelly. So you're going to take and stamp onto your piece. It's easiest to stamp before you add it. You can bring in the Stampin' Pierce mat if you'd like to. That just helps give a cushion underneath. And I'm taking the stamp that is from the kit that says, and I'll just bring this in for reference, that says thanks. Okay, so we'll ink that up with our black Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm stamping that right up here. So I'm about maybe an inch from the top, 3/4 of an inch from the two sides to get that look. Doesn't matter as long as it looks centered. Flip it over, adhere it directly, and I knew I was going to run out. Well, now we have a lesson in how to change the seal refill, right? Okay, so what I like to do is trim it open. Just pull this out. There are little holes, 1, 2. You're going to put those holes lined up with your cartridge holder. Just snap it back on. It's so easy, you guys. So easy. Okay, we continue. So now we're going to take and add adhesive in the 4 corners. Center. Stick it down. These are the simplest cards, these 3. And I'm not going to do all 3 of them. I'll do one and I'll show you the finished. That's it. But that envelope needs to be on a card, right? It needs to be on a card. So if you want to, you can add those embellishments and you can have butterflies on your cards too. Just kind of, I don't know, zhuzh them up a bit, right? So here are my finished 3 with the butterflies. Here's one without, still just as pretty. Next card. The next one we're going to make involves this piece here. So this card layer here can do so much, you guys. Already it's perfect because you can take and fold this in, and you have your perfect trifold type of card, right? It opens with 3 panels. We're going to trim it though, because there's just too much goodness on this to only use for 1 card. So we're going to trim off our flowers. I love that they're double-sided, but we're not going to trim here. I did that on my first one and then I made a mistake. We're going to trim in a little bit so that we have about 1/2 inch extra attached to this. And it doesn't have to be an exact measurement, but I kept 1/2 inch on here as a hinge. Let's set that one aside. Let's separate our fence, or our gate. So we're just going to trim that off. We've got our gate ready for the next card. And for this one, we're going to use our narrower blue panel that's 5.5 inches long. And we're going to bring in our fence pieces. So for your fence pieces, just like it shows you in the kit, we're going to stamp on them. So I'm going to grab, if I can, all of those. And these actually, I don't think they're stamped in the kit directions. So you can leave them as is, or you can put some texture on them. We're going to stamp these. There's a little inner part there. And this gate does open. So, because it's got like a little connection there. Let's take our crumb cake cardstock, and this is where you could use the little ink spot that is in the kit instead of the large ink pad. And we'll take our gate stamp. Here it is. I stuck something down on top of it. So our big gate stamp that comes in the kit, you're going to ink it up, You're going to hover over the top of your gate. Make sure that you can see about the same amount of white all the way around. Press it into place, pull it up, and now we have the outline of our gate. Yay, it looks great. Now we're going to use that same stamp. I almost put it away. And we're going to add some more gate boards to these pieces. And here is where I am going to get my, we'll use one of these because we're not going to be using them in the actual cards. All right, there. So we're going to take and stamp over the top of those three, and then we'll stamp over the top of these three. Keep that flat. I found that if you take that one line that goes vertically on the stamp and you have it right outside of your, in fact here, it's hard to see. If I put them really close to each other though, maybe you can see. But I'm going to have that line right outside of my gate. That tends to line it up really well then. Okay, so that's done. Now let's grab our blue and a black base. We're going to fold this, set that out of the way, use our bone folder, give it a good crease. For our gate that we're going to add, we're going to have it sort of low. We want our sky to be somewhat high. So we're going to only have 1/8 of an inch showing up here just to give a nice black border so that we have the same amount of border on the top and the bottom. Now I'm adding just a little bit of adhesive in the four corners, but you could certainly use more. You could use the multi-purpose liquid glue if that's what you're more inclined to use. Totally fine. So we've left that black a little bit bigger at the bottom because when you have your gate down here, you almost need, you know, like, to be realistic, you need something behind there to look like ground, but we don't have that. So we have more street or sidewalk going down here. That's how I thought of it. We're going to add this flat, but we're only going to attach this side, not the center of the gate. And we'll add that right flush up to this left edge so that we have, again, about 1/8 of an inch showing on the bottom of the card down there. Oops, it's better if I go like that. And then this next one gets added on this side. And I'm going to flip my card over because I'm right-handed and it's easier for me to hold this way. So that gets the same adding where you're going to bring it right up to the edge, and you want to compare it to this side to make sure that they look even. Okay. Then you can choose to stamp on the inside. I did on my other card. You could put flowers in there. You could put whatever you want in there. Let me show you what I did with my finished one. So here is the finished versus the not so finished yet. What I did is I added my hello. Remember, we had 3 of those oval sentiments in different languages. I chose the one in my language, stuck that on, and I put it on with those little dimensionals. I added some of those butterflies again. And then you can see from this sheet here that I told you don't pull them off quite yet because you'll start to lose them. But these little guys here, you have a bunch of extra little punch-out flowers. And I grabbed the purple ones. I think they're hydrangeas, and I stuck those here as if there's like a whole little collection of flowers peeking out from behind the gate. So hello, thankful for you, friend, and on the inside I just have a white piece of envelope, and it comes from that back side, and I just trimmed it to fit so I had 1/8 of an inch on each side, so it's 5 1/4 inches in this direction. How did I, oops, oh great. How did I get, well there you go. How did I get the words on the inside? Because everything's lying flat, I opened this up and I took my stamp from Thankful Garden, this one here that says thankful for you, friend, inked it, and just literally stamped it as it's sitting here on the card. These are flat. If you put them up on dimensionals, you might have issues with, especially if you had like an inked up block, you might have issues with ink getting onto your card. Well, we have ink that gets onto your card when you throw them around your table too. So, oopsie, I'm gonna have to figure out how to blend that in. Maybe a blender pen or something with some coloring. Thankfully, it's the color that I used for the gate. And I tell you guys every time, don't I? Close your ink pads when you're not using them. And I didn't. So there, lesson learned. There we go. So that is the fourth card. Let's go with the next one. So the next card is going to be using this large gate piece. So we're taking portions of these cards now. We're going to divide them into 3 different cards. So for this one, we're going to use some of this beautiful blue paper, and I'm just going to trim it right where the card is scored already at 4 1/4 inches. And we're going to add this onto another black card base. For those of you coming in late, welcome, welcome. We are taking and multiplying the cards that are in the Welcoming Garden kit. So I would just add this directly to the front of the card. Let's just do that with some glue just to show you a different option here. If you are a glue fan, then the issue with glue, as you can see, I've already got kind of a lot of it right here, is you can get too much on there sometimes. We're just going to show you all kinds of mistakes today. Grab your other end and smear it inwards if you have that issue, right? Just kind of bring it in. You can kind of smooth out those little globules of glue. Okay, let's add that to the front of our card. And I would add it in the folded corner and edge first, because you can always trim any excess that you have off of this side a little bit easier, because it's easier to open up. Okay, so there we have our layer on there. The next thing we're going to do is add this piece. For this one, I think I'm going to be a little bit smarter. Ooh, we forgot. We got to stamp this one. Or Rachel forgot. You guys didn't forget. Hi, Virginia. I have pink hair. I'm wearing a wig today. It's a new wig. I'm so excited. I actually really feel good in it too, which is crazy because I've never had pink hair, but it works for me. I like it. Okay, ink, 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 and then you can stamp these little texture stamps onto your wooden pieces here. So we're just inking, and I'm going to go up a little higher on this one just to give it a bit of variation. You can also flip it around. You can stamp it like that. Okay, so work with your texture stamp and add some fun lines going onto your wooden panels here on your gate door. Go a little higher with that one, stamp below. See, these are bigger ones, so I'm stamping them twice. Stamp once, stamp twice. Okay, and you can certainly do that here too, but you have a curve, and I believe on the directions they did not stamp that. Rachel's now going to close up her ink pad and put that away. All right, we have that ready to go. So this gets added to the front. Now, if you add it with shadow behind it, it doesn't really show off the sky. So I found that for this piece, because these slats of wood are so close to each other, I thought it was best if I just added it flat. So for this, I will go ahead and add my image on here using my precision tip glue bottle, because then I don't have the little puddles of glue that come off. And try to center it as you add. It's better if it connects with the ground than if it connects with the sky. So I would add, I would add the ground part first and then the top. I'm used to seal adhesive. I'm used to where it just grabs right away, and I kind of shifted that. But there we go, it's on there. This one involves this piece. So when you're stamping onto these white, tiny little sentiment pieces, that's where you want to have either dark cardstock behind it, or you want to have your your Stampin' Pierce mat. So let's find that stamp again. Here it is. And our black ink. Ink it up. Love photopolymer. That's what we call our clear stamps. You can see right through. And now we have that gorgeous sentiment ready to go. We're going to add that. You can use the dimensionals that come in the kit, but over time you're going to run out if you are if you're multiplying the cards from a kit. So if you're multiplying the cards from the kit, you probably want to get some extra dimensionals, okay? Bonnie is not in love with the green glue. We call it green glue, but it's also multi-purpose, Tombow glue, that type of thing. They call it green glue just because of the cap, but it doesn't come out green, just so you know. Green capped glue, right? There's our thanks. We put that on there with dimensionals. And then with the flowers, you have these bunches here. Excuse me. So on the back side, we can add glue dots, or we can add glue. We can make our flowers go flat against the gate, or we can give them some dimension by adding those, where did they go? Here they are. By adding the tiny little dimensionals. So at this point, I'm going to grab a tiny little dimensional from the kit, and I'm going to put it back here, but you're going to see that it really fills up that whole space back there. So for those tinier flowers, it might be wiser to just cut a little narrow strip here and trim off little pieces as you need them to put onto the backs of your flowers, okay? I know that's a lot of putziness, but if you want them sticking up, the dimensionals have to be tiny, okay? So now we'll pull the backings off. We'll move this where we want it to go, and this is not the one I was going to use on here. Oops. Anyways, so there's how you can add flowers. You can also just add one with a dimensional, and you can then glue these two connecting pieces right there so that you're using the lift from this piece to help hold up this flower, and that flower for that matter. Here is the finished card for that one. So I have my bunches of flowers. I tucked one underneath. I believe I actually used this one that's wider apart. Okay? But it doesn't matter. It's card making. It's fun. It's artsy. And then I have two individual flowers kind of overlapped here. The little butterflies up there. Thanks. And I think on the inside, oh, I did stamp. You make a difference. Where did I get that from? I got that from the Thankful Garden set. You make a difference. So this piece here is actually from our envelope. That is one of our 3 pieces that started out this size, and I trimmed that one down so it fits inside the card, and it's 4.5 inches now. So we cut off the 2 ends and made this 4.5 inches to get that second envelope layer on the inside. So that is the next card. After that, we have this piece left, right? So what are we going to do with this piece? Well, we're going to fold this back. We're going to use our bone folder, give it a good crease. And this is going to be our hinge. So for our hinge, we need to have, oops, some things are flying around here. We need to have our narrower, not narrower, our taller and slightly wider of our white pieces that we already cut ahead of time. So we're going to use this one here. You guys have a favorite card so far? I would love to hear which one you're liking so far. So this is going to go and attach to our hinge on top. If we do it this way, you can see the difference of the 2 whites, and I think it's too obvious. So we're going to attach it on top. To do that though, we need to leave a little bit showing here of that fold. If we attach it directly in here, it's going to be too hard to lay down flat when we want to have it flat. So let's tuck that in there. Let's position it. Let's line it up with the front of our card. Let's flip this whole thing over. Let's add some glue. If we add glue, we have some wiggle room. So I'm just going to make you guys love the glue for this one card. we want a little bit of wiggle room, so we're going to attach it, then we're going to turn it over, and if we need to, we can adjust, we can wiggle. But we don't want to adjust too much. Again, we want to have that little edge there, and you're going to see it all the way up, but just think of it as a decoration or a border. There we go. There's that. And to finish off that card, I stamped with love from the Thankful Garden set. So that one is that stamp up in the corner, and I did it on the white. I did it on the white layer because when you open up the card, you still see the with love. I also did the butterflies up there so that when you open it up, you still see the butterflies. This is beautiful as is. We don't really need to put anything else here or here. You can definitely add something. I know a friend of mine messaged me saying that she added a cute little bunny on the inside, so there's like a surprise when you open it up. Super cute idea. But again, it's so decorative and pretty that really just adding your sentiment up here instead of down here would work. So that's that card. The next one, we've got plenty to go here, so I'm trying to go fast. The next card is using one of these blue layers, but we're going to trim it. So we're going to take our trimmer again, and we're going to trim off 1/8 of an inch from each side. Yeah, and you know, if you're not a kit person, I suggest giving this a try. Actually, I'm trimming off, how much am I trimming off? Yeah, this one I'm trimming off 1/8 of an inch from each side. So we're trimming it to 5, oops, you don't see that measurement, do you? 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, next, we're gonna grab another black card base. So our only card that didn't use the black card base was the one that we just did previously, this hinge card. There was no black cardstock on there. Here's our card base. This goes on top, and then we also need this white layer, and we're going to decorate this white layer up right now. For this white layer, we're going to use, and I'm looking for it, hang on, oh, here it is. We're going to use this piece. Now this piece is full of leaves. I think it's a waste if you put it on just one card. So I did some surgery on this piece. I took and I cut straight across here. We're going to get this middle one out of here. And so to do that, I took and cut here so that I'm removing this part and still keeping that leaf intact. In fact, it looks like it's all one now without any broken parts on it. We'll keep that for a different card. For this one, we just have to make this look better. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that little corner off. And to me, it looks like just a couple fun leaves there. You could, if you wanted to, take and, here, I think this is what I did in my other one. I'm looking over there. You could take and get rid of this stem part here. So you just cut that out of there. And now it looks like your leaf is in you have two different leaves on there, but then this one is just kind of folded, okay? For this, we're gonna glue this down onto our white layer. So I'm just gonna add little drips of glue here and there on the leaves so we can tack it in place. Just adding tiny little dots here and there. You don't need a ton of glue. You don't have to go right to the edges for something delicate like this. You could also take and sponge glue onto the back side. I'm going to start this branch about here, which is an 1.5 inches from the top, and then I want it to almost touch the top of the white, but not quite. Okay, so there's where it sits, and it connects over here about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches down. We'll use that extra little birdhouse. There's an extra birdhouse that they give you on that fun little punch-out sheet. So we're going to take the birdhouse. We're going to add that with a dimensional. Oh, here's one. And you could use the larger one if you want a wider dimensional, totally fine. We're going to add that, and we're going to add it connected to that leaf, as if it's hanging from our tree right in that spot. Okay, so there's our birdhouse. And then there are some pretty flowers on here. And we're going to grab the pink ones and we're going to pop them on with some glue. So we'll just add a dot of glue. If you wanted to, you could use dimensionals, but we're just going to add them into little areas here of our tree. Maybe where, I don't know, where there should be little flaws covered up. You could add one there if you don't like that spot. I'm going to add one up here. And then this double one I'm going to add kind of in this curvature here. So we'll add that right through here to make it look a little fuller. Okay, so there's that. Really pretty fun layer put together, super fast. We're going to use this sentiment strip. Let me have that stand out for you. So we'll put that on here so you can see it, and we'll add our stamp image from our kit that says thinking of you today. And I am thinking of all of you today. This is a fun card to make. I really, really appreciate all of you tuning in and watching the live or the after live, commenting, telling me what you think. What's your favorite card out of all of them so far? So there we go. Thinking of you today. This one I will use the small dimensionals that come in the kit to add this. You could cut a strip along the side if you want to too. Those edges of your dimensionals are usable. Peel the backing off. We're going to add this and we're going to bring it right up to this edge like that. So it runs parallel to the bottom and the top edge of that piece. Then we're going to add this to the front of our card. Now because I have dimensionals here, I could add dimensionals in the four corners, and when it mails, it'll still feel like one layer of dimensionals. So let's flip that over. Let's grab our larger dimensionals to get more of a base in there. So put one in each corner and peel off the backings. How many of you have this kit? If you have this kit, shout it out. Let us know if you have it. So that just gets centered here onto that blue layer. So we have the sky surrounding it, and then I've added it to the front of the card. On the inside is where I have that third envelope piece, and I've trimmed it down to the same size as I had with the other one, 4.5 inches wide in this direction. And there's the finished one. Let's bring that back in. Again, with or without butterflies, it's up to you. I thought my cards looked really great without the butterflies, but I wanted to give you an option. So there we have our finished card. Thinking of you today with love. All right, next card. The next card is using, actually the next two cards are using these white layers. So we're going to take and add those to our black. Score, crease. We're going to add that with adhesive, like so. Do the same thing for the inside of the card. And for this first one, we're going to use this set of flowers, and we're going to do some surgery again. So we're going to cut them so that we're removing, oops, no, we're keeping that in place. Sorry about that. We're going to cut it right about here. So in line with that leaf that you see right there. Okay, we're going to cut it right there. And then we're going to cut these little sections apart from each other. We're going to cut these two flowers apart from each other. Now they're separated, but there's this little odd pink petal. So just trim that out. That's scrap because it belongs to a different flower that we no longer have there. Then, you see how tall that is? We're going to trim that right, actually we can trim it right here. So we still have that leaf. See that? Oh, and then we got to separate these two. So to separate those, what did I do on my other card? 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's where I separated it. So I went between the two flowers. I kept the leaf with this one. And there's one piece for one card. This one I trimmed just a little bit to make it look more like a leaf. And this was the layer that I put on this next card. This is a horizontal card, so I turned it in this direction and I added it here. I added it flat, but you could certainly raise it up on dimensionals. I stamped a sentiment underneath, and because this is right justified, I stamped the sentiment left justified, put everything into the middle, and the finished card looks like this. One other little tip, I don't think I stamped any, no, nothing on the inside. So I added this flat here, but then I still wanted that shadow. So on the back side of this flower, I did add a tiny little dimensional to help raise that up and give a little bit of shadow behind the tops of the flowers. So I added this first, then I stamped that, by the way. So if you got to be careful with it. All right, the next one, also doing the same thing where you're adding your white layer and you're building up onto it. This is one of my favorite pieces in the kit. And I didn't want to have it just against like a blue background because I thought it kind of disappears a bit more than if you have it here. This really shows it off. So we stuck it there. I added glue along this strip here and connected these two together so that it sat like this. But I added this, and you don't have to. It is you know, nice and delicate even when it's sitting flat. You could add dimensionals in certain places behind here. It's putzier though. So I think on my second one, the one that I'm going to finish after the live is done, I'm going to go ahead and glue it straight down. And then you have, remember, these little guys here, right? The ones that you don't have, that you don't speak the language of, right? So you're going to then stamp onto these. And for this one, and for the other one actually, I used thanks. I didn't include the and because it didn't fit. I just inked up the word thanks and stamped it on there. To do that, it's quite simple. You've got your ink, you've got your stamp, and you're just going to omit inking up the ampersand. So the ampersand does not have any ink on it, just my word thanks, and there you have it. So after you've done that on your two extra oval back sides of your ovals, this piece is going to get added with dimensionals to the front of the card. And then I added those extra orangish, peachish looking flowers around. For that card, it ended up looking like this. Yay! So again, I have dimensionals back here behind most of this gate piece, but you don't have to. You could have it lying flat. Just connect the green with the gate before you add dimensionals onto it. I have a couple butterflies up there. Again, I don't know if they're necessarily necessary, but it's fun to have them. Oh, I didn't add this with dimensionals. This one I added flat because the whole gate was raised up. But if you're going to make a flat gate, I would pop this up away from the card. And the flowers are just glued onto the gate areas. A couple of them have dimensionals, like this one has one back behind it for support. But really they're just attached to the black gate, which is already raised. So there's that one. I forgot something on a previous card, so let me go back to that. Trisha, if you have to go, I totally understand. Do you remember this card? I forgot about these guys here. These are added onto here with dimensionals, so they do pop up, but I wouldn't add them until after you've stamped the inside. That way this piece will lie flat as you are stamping, and then you can add this with dimensionals on the sides. And I think you may have noticed that when I shared the finished one. The last two cards, because these are all used up on the previous ones, the last two cards use one card base, a few of these extra flowers that are left, which I believe are this one and this one, because technically we've used up the rest of that sheet. We're also going to use this piece, our other thanks. Remember we stamped, I told you to stamp both of them with thanks, so we'll bring that in. And then this piece. So to make our other two cards, we needed an inside and an outside. So I cut this into 4 pieces. First I cut at 4 1/4 inches, which separates it at the score line. Then I stacked them and cut them at 2 3/4 inches. So I got 4 pieces out of 1. And I want to make sure I'm telling you the right. So 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Yep, that's the exact size I used. I added 1 layer to the inside of the cards and 1 layer to the outside of the cards. For one card, I took and added this with dimensionals onto this piece so that we see some shadow behind the flower. So I added dimensionals back here and a couple behind the flowers. And I made this edge here go right to that corner like that so that you could see some of the pretty flowers off to the side. And that way when I added my thanks to fill in the rest of that gap down there, I could then take these extra flowers and build them out so that they stuck out around it to get this look. Okay, so you can see these flowers are popped up. They've got a bit of a shadow behind them. Here's my thanks. Here's my flowers that are sticking out on this side because these are sticking out on that side. Everything really pops and is nice and vivid. A couple extra butterflies up there, and there's the inside of that card. The last one that I did involved these 2 pieces. And for that, I did dimensionals again. I stuck dimensionals behind this layer, put that in the middle, stamped on this, and stuck it down here. It's a super sweet, I want to say it's one of my favorites. One of my favorites of all of them. It just looks so simple and so sweet. And this is the finished look of that one. So again, hydrangeas popped up, the butterflies in the background, this is popped up as well, and the inside looks like that. So it does, I totally agree. Yes, the black cardstock gives it a pop. Okay, let's see if we can separate out all these cards to show you the finished samples all at once without making a mess. Thank you guys for joining me. So we have some prizes to draw. We always do prize drawings. The last live that we did, I have a couple winners because we had lots of comments. Oh, you're not going to see that one up there, are you? I had lots of comments, and so we drew 2 winners. So thank you for leaving a comment in the after live, you guys. It was worth it. You get better chances of winning. I'm going to zoom out just a tad here. That one, oops, this is the finished one. And then we have these guys. 1, 2, 3. Did we get them all in there? Yay! Ta-da! Oh my goodness sakes, so much fun. Maybe I'll shift this one over here. Okay, so if you want to, you can take a screenshot of all those fun cards. Oh, this one's not showing at all. Anyways, I had fun making these. So we're going to do prizes next. And the last time we did prizes, thank you for the hearts, you guys. The last time we did prizes for our live winners from last week, the prize was a blending brush, 4 sheets of dazzle paper, and an embellishment sheet. So our after live winners get that as a prize. I'm going to call out those winners soon. Let me set up my computer here. Again, we have 2 winners. So yay, yay, yay. Let me put up my email address, which has changed. It hasn't changed necessarily. You can still reach out to me at my other email address, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm trying to use my new email address. So we have Nancy Brown-B1F as one of our After Live winners. Yay, Nancy! And then we also have Lynn Hunt Phones 3063. So reach out to me at rachel@stampyourartout.com to claim your prize. Again, that prize is the blending brush, the 4 sheets of dazzle paper, and then that embellishment sheet. And I'll show those to you. Here they are. Gosh, got lots of stuff over here, Rachel. The desk is a mess. So you get a blending brush. You get 4 sheets of this fun dazzle paper. And then you get a sheet of embellishments. So, and I have to choose the embellishments because if we have 2 winners today, I have to pick out another one. So you just get a random thing of embellishments. I don't know what it's going to be. So Trisha has called out some winners for our during the live. Oops, sorry. Let's see if I can get that out of there. So yay for Linda and Mommy Roo. For our during the live winners, we have other prizes. For our other prizes, we have, where did they go? Oh, here they are. They're on my messy desk. Things have just gone awry lately. So you're going to get a sheet of the brushed brass butterflies and a packet of envelopes sent to you. Now, if you live outside the US, I can't send you actual physical product for your prize, but you can claim a tutorial instead. So if you are interested in a tutorial, I'm going to guide you there right now. In fact, any prize winner can choose a tutorial. So congratulations to our prize winners. Holly says, great prize. Good. I'm glad that you like that. Yay. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Congratulations, winners. Yay. Oh, and I love this. Look at all the emojis that Tangi put up there. All right. So for searching out on my website, the tutorials, you're going to go to Stamp Your Art Out. Boy, I started off with a dry throat and it's still dry. Hang on. So you're going to go to my website at stampyourartout.com. When you're there, you're going to click on Shop. You're going to go to Tutorials. Then you're going to head to this little section that says Tutorials. And when you click on it, you're going to have lots of choices there. Okay, there's a ton of choices. It's scrolling right now. It's thinking, there it is. So go through those several pages worth. There are 102 choices. So if you'd rather not get product, you can choose that. Or if you live outside the US, that's what you can choose. Now, let's say you're on my website at stampyourartout.com and you're like, how do I claim a catalog? I really would like to get a catalog from Rachel because I don't have a demonstrator and I'm not a demonstrator and I live in the US. Okay, so those are the three things. If you live in the US, you don't already have a demonstrator and you're not a demonstrator yourself, please, I invite you, if you'd like to shop from our products and get a catalog, go to my shop drop-down menu, choose catalogs, and when you're there, you're going to scroll to this button, click to request. That is the way you request a catalog. It's my most efficient way. I get up-to-date addresses. Make sure that you're reading all the categories though. Sometimes people put their email address in a phone area or vice versa or whatever. I use that spreadsheet to then just go right into my mailing program, and if I have to edit things, it takes time. So please fill that out completely and accurately. The other thing that I want to tell you about is when you're on my website, if you're looking for the blog post that is going to be connected to this video today, a quick way to do it is just to scroll down and look at the latest blog posts. Here they are. It should show up here if it's ready to go. You can also click on my blog and it'll take you directly to the latest posts. And so you can take and click on any post that pertains to your interest. We have a new catalog coming. Here it is. Okay, I can't show you the inside yet. It's because it hasn't begun, but this is the new catalog that I am in the midst of mailing to my customers. It will be viewable online on May 6th, and that's when you can shop from those products if you're not a demonstrator. If you are a demonstrator, you can shop from select products now, so make sure that you check that out. Also note, and I'm not too sad about it because it did have a good 2 full years, but my Million Achiever stamp set is saying goodbye. So please grab up one of these sets if you haven't done so already. I do not have extras on hand, so don't come to me after it's gone and say, do you have another one? Because there's no way I'm going to give up my sets. So I just have the extras that I want. So make sure that you buy up what you need for that. That's layering leaves, and the bow punch pertaining to that too. It's not that it's unavailable, it's just unavailable temporarily. If you're still seeing something in the online store that you want and it's showing, but it says unavailable, it means that Stampin' Up! Is going to replenish it. You're going to see it come back. One more thing regarding the online store. Let's go there right now. Okay, so in the online store, when you're there, I just refreshed it so we're right where we need to be. If you want to, you can go to specials, and my head is in the way. Hang on. Let's see if I can scoot myself a little further in the corner. Okay, so there's this little tab that says specials. Click on that and go to last chance products. This is where you're going to shop from items that are leaving. anything that is leaving, and it's going to be gone when the inventory depletes, not on a certain date or anything, just when it sells out. So if it says last chance next to it, it is on its last run. Okay, Stampin' Up! Is only going to sell the inventory that they have currently. So you're going to shop from the last chance list if you want to get in on anything that is saying goodbye whenever it sells out, okay? No timeline, just know that it's there, and there's a ton of products that just got added from the current annual catalog and the current mini catalog, so you'll want to check that out too. I think we covered it all. Thank you. I hope that you had a great time today. Sorry we went over by a few minutes. I know that Trisha only has an hour limit for herself, so I'm always sad when I push it and go beyond. But that's what we did. But I appreciate you all coming out, and thank you all so much. A big thank you to Trisha for moderating our video, for answering questions during the live. A big thank you to all of you newbies that stuck through and watched. I hope that you got some great tips and you're anxious to get started. Kits are a great way to go. Go to the kits collection section in the online store and you can see all the different choices of kits. It's a great way to dabble in stamping and to get your feet wet. Also, thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel and or my blog or newsletter. When you visit my website, you have choices of what to subscribe to because I do share often. I've been sharing for 25, well, not 25 years. I've been online since 2018, but I've been a demonstrator for 25 years and have enjoyed this experience immensely for those whole 25 years. I love being a demonstrator. I love sharing my love of paper crafting with all of you. I hope that you come back to future videos. Make sure that you like, subscribe, give the thumbs up. When you subscribe, click on that little bell and change your notifications to all so that you know when I'm going live. Also, to my YouTube members, those of you that aren't just subscribers, but you've bought into a membership, I don't have a date for the end of the month yet of when I'm going to do my next exclusive live for all of you, but I promise that I will come up with that calendar plan soon. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.